that features Race for the Championship. 60 minutes of non-stop action captured in the only official video of the pursuit of the Football League trophy. The official and exclusive Football League video of your club's season in Division 1 relives all the games, home and away, all the goals for and against, a collectible must for every supporter. Revel in the First Division's most breathtaking goals in goals galore, and the greatest goalkeepers in action in saves galore. A brilliant 1-2 from the Football League. Welcome to the official Football League video of Wimbledon's season 1990-1991. The fifth season in the First Division, and in the style of that famous FA Cup victory, the Dons delight in continuing to surprise. You'll see goals from all the games as Wimbledon take their place in the top flight once again. Last season had started poorly, but by the season's end, the team had climbed to a respectable 8th position. The summer had seen the departure of two more of the FA Cup winning team. Dennis Wise completed a £1.6 million move to Chelsea, 5 years after arriving at Plough Lane on a free transfer. And Eric Young moved on to Crystal Palace, where he linked up with another old boy, Andy Thorne, in the centre of their defence. Money to spend then, and Warren Barton joined the Dons from Maidstone United only a year after a transfer from non-league Redbridge Forest. And fullback Gary Elkins was added to the squad in a £30,000 move from Fulham. So the first team squad looks like this, with Hans Segers the #1 goalkeeper and ever-present last season. Defensively, record signing Keith Curle would anchor things centrally, with Roger Joseph and Terry Phelan the likely fullbacks. The midfield unit would revolve around Polish import Detsy Krasinski and that experienced Dons favourite Laurie Sanchez. Up front, John Fashion, who started the season with a game-by-game contract, rumours abounding of a possible move. And 13 years after joining Wimbledon on a free transfer, Alan Cork still going strong, some 457 games and 160 goals later. In charge, caretaker manager Ray Harford, as Bobby Gould had left the job at the end of the previous season. The scene set for the first league game of the season at home to London rivals Arsenal.
With much summer transfer activity, there's plenty of competition for places in the Arsenal squad. So when Paul Merson headed home a tantalising cross from one of the new signings, Anders Limpar in the 56th minute, he was understandably delighted. Three minutes later, and Arsenal went further ahead. Alan Smith's header putting Kevin Curle under enormous pressure, and the Wimbledon skipper could only turn the ball into his own net. Arsenal were coasting now, so it came as no surprise when substitute Perry Groves signalled Arsenal's championship intentions by making it 3 on the stroke of time with a spectacular volley. It looks like money well spent by George Graham, but it could be a long season ahead for the men from Plough Lane.
Wimbledon's use of the airspace over Loftus Road brought them victory at Queen's Park Rangers. Only 11 minutes left, a flick from John Fashanu, catching out goalkeeper Tony Roberts. Roberts previously the understudy to David Seaman at Rangers.
The Dons had the best away record in the First Division last season, and following their win at Queen's Park Rangers looked like repeating that form. Only 5 minutes had gone when two former local Burton Albion players combined to give them the lead. John Gale's shot was scrambled away, and Steve Cottrell seized on the rebound. To be honest, it wasn't the greatest of games, but when Paul Williams was brought down in the box midway through the second half, Derby had a chance to equalise. Hans Sagers can consider himself fortunate not to have received his marching orders for what looked like a deliberate professional foul. Dean Saunders almost fluffed the penalty, but his kick went through Sagers' hands and a point was saved.
Dave Burrows to Barnes. Scales going with him. And Barton too. Getting it to Brzezinski. Scales getting it away, only as far as Whelan. Here's McMahon, Scales in there again. Laurie Sanchez. He says to Fashanu, but Fashanu, as I suspect we shall find most times this afternoon, will either have Burrows or Gillespie close at hand. Brzezinski hitting it wide towards Gale on the far side. Phelan's in there! So close there for Wimbledon. And Terry Phelan nicking in. He's now playing midfield. For so long he was a fullback here, but it was a good header there by John Gale. So close to giving Wimbledon the lead. Scales. Sanchez. Nickel. McMahon. Up goes Barnes. Scales was unaware that Rush was there. Suddenly Whelan's through. A great chance for Liverpool. And a tremendous piece of goalkeeping by Sagers. They were badly caught out there, Wimbledon, and it was a fine ball through for Rush. That's where they lost it. And suddenly Whelan was through, but it was a lovely piece of goalkeeping there by Sagers. So Sagers gets even further forward with a free kick. Looking once more for Gale, and Cottrell straight into the arms of Grobbelaar. Well, they so often hoist that ball in, look for a bit of panic and look for the big men as well, and very nearly got both. Today, Barnes. Little chip by Barnes. Brilliant goal by John Barnes. Chip by a supreme artist, John Barnes, and backpedal though he might, Hans Sagers just couldn't get to it. He held off beautifully here. Wimbledon possibly were expecting the little chip cross. It was a little chip shot, and stretch as he might, Sagers couldn't quite get to it. Gillespie, Barnes, there's Barnes. Comes to Rush. A bit of extra pace there from Rush, and now to the special skills of Barnes. Simple ball to Ablett, played in this time, and Whelan! A fantastic Liverpool goal! What a fantastic goal that was! What a killer run by Ronnie Whelan, the joy on his face, because his timing was absolutely perfect. Applause from Kenny Dalglish. That was a very special goal indeed. Barnes playing it here for Ablett. And by now, Whelan will be on his run. And there he is meeting it full length beyond Sagers 2-0. supported by Mulvey. Barnes caught offside. About 3 to 4 yards inside the Wimbledon half only. Even that doesn't stop Hans Segers coming forward to take the free kick. Long again towards Gale. Just got a touch on it. Real economy of movement there. The free kick from the goalkeeper. Up goes big John Gale, just gets a glancing header on it, and Grobbelaar's down to save. Liverpool still with that cushion of 2 goals, leading 2-0. Roger Joseph. It is a good spell for Wimbledon, this. Played in again there towards Krasinski. Now, can anybody finish that off? Grobbelaar can't find it. Sanchez firing it wide. And Liverpool, just for a moment there, once Grobbelaar had lost it, were in some disarray. Nobody quite knew where the ball was until it came out to Sanchez. Grobbelaar came, didn't really collect under an assault from Krasinski there. Referee rightly allowed the play to go on. McMahon could only play it out as far as Sanchez, and Sanchez was way off target. Just over halfway through the second half as he gets back to Segers. Sanchez. Krasinski. Good work by Grobbelaar. This is an excellent second half by Wimbledon. And they really at half-time could have been forgiven for thinking they were really out of it. Liverpool were playing so well. But they've come with a renewed spirit in this second half. As Krasinski hoists it forward again there to John Gale. That cannoned off the defender. It'll be a Liverpool, a Wimbledon corner. Grobbelaar's been the busier of the 2 goalkeepers since half-time. Sanchez lifts another corner into the Liverpool penalty area. Fashanu trying so hard to get there. Gale in there! And somehow they got it away again. Grobbelaar's fist got that one. Phelan returning it. Grobbelaar up there again. The bodies are piling in that 6-yard area. And in the end, a foul on the goalkeeper gives Liverpool the free kick. Grobbelaar gets up smiling. That was some scramble. And here it is again. A lot of big men craning their necks. That was Gale very nearly getting in, and it was off the line by McMahon. A punch away by Grobbelaar. There's more work to do yet for Big Bruce, though, and up he goes again, and down he goes as the bodies go in once more, and the whistle is gone. It's a very well contested second half, this. Just that spell, the last, 20 minutes of the first half, where Liverpool threatened to run riot and did so much damage with those 2 goals. Sanchez playing it in. Well, did it go over the line? Yes. Well, the linesman's given a goal. The referee agrees. Who scored it amongst that tangle of bodies? And Liverpool not even sure anybody should have scored it. But the linesman went wheeling away. The referee followed. And John Fashanu looks to be the man who's claimed it. What it does, it opens up this game as Sanchez takes the corner. Fashanu right in there, but it certainly wasn't Fashanu. As we look again at another angle, if anybody, it was Alan Cork.
Indeed, Alan Cork was credited with that goal, but a case of too little too late. 4 points from 4 games, certainly room for improvement. Bad news for Paul Miller, whose knee injury on the opening day would keep him out for the season. The Dons' next game at Highfield Road ended in a goalless draw. The only incident of note, the Dons' John Scales was sent off after only 9 minutes for bringing down David Speedy. Sunderland were the next visitors to London Southwest 19.
At Plough Lane, Wimbledon tried to impose their direct style on Sunderland, but the Wearsiders took the early honours. A nice chip from former Wimbledon player John Kay. Released Gordon Armstrong. Sunderland were in front. Then Sunderland out-Wimbledoned Wimbledon. Goalkeeper Tony Norman. Hesitation at the Dons' defence. And Peter Davenport. His 3rd goal of the season. So Wimbledon were facing their 3rd successive home defeat this year, but the Dons never lack fight. Detsi Krusniski, a fine volley, and they're back in the game. And now central defender John Scales popped up to complete the great escape with just a couple of minutes to go, leaving Sunderland to settle for their 3rd draw since promotion. All the action late in the game here. City went ahead 13 minutes from the end. Corner from Ward. Substitute Clive Allen scored what looked to be the winner. Clive Allen had come on early in the second half. Wimbledon had created and missed loads of chances before that, and they had a great chance to get back in it with a penalty. Phelan playing in midfield these days and pushing forward number 3 under challenge from Ward. Penalty given despite the City protests. John Fashanu out injured, so it's down to the skipper Keith Curle. £1 million goalkeeper Tony Coton, a fine save from him. Wimbledon never know when they're beaten. The referee looking at his watch, and there's a dramatic late equaliser. A fine turn and finish from John Gale. Wimbledon won, Manchester City won. A big day for United's new signing Vinnie Jones, making his first appearance against the side that discovered him. Wimbledon striker John Gale was involved in a well-publicised punch-up at a training session in midweek with his captain Keith Curle. Fortunately, they buried the hatchet before the kick-off. Entertaining match, though. United took the lead after 14 minutes. David Barnes' left-foot shot flying in from the edge of the box. Barnes obviously paid a visit to Vinnie Jones' barber in the week. 13 minutes later, in the swirling wind, Wimbledon equalised. Krasinski's shot smacks against the bar. And Carlton Fairweather, almost Van Basten-like skills, a spectacular overhead kick. Don striker John Gale then completed a miserable week by committing the second bookable offence on Vinnie Jones. United will be kicking themselves as Wimbledon's 10 men stole the points. Substitute John Fashanu grabbed his second of the season as Dave Bassett's old team pulled off a 3-point mugging of his new one.
So the second win of the season after that sequence of draws, and Wimbledon climbed to 11th position. The first cup action of the season, a disappointingly early exit from the Rumbelows League Cup. The two-legged affair saw the Dons losing both home and away to second division Plymouth. The second year on the trot that they've gone out to Division 2 opposition. An improved performance in the next league game, but still no goals. Only 8 scored so far. Next came a visit to high-flying Crystal Palace.
Crystal
Crystal Palace have set a new club record. 10 First Division matches and no defeats after a thrilling London derby at Selhurst Park. Visitors Wimbledon, no pushovers. Paul McGee putting one over Nigel Martin. A clever turn and chip, catching the highly rated keeper off his line. The Eagles certainly made of much sterner stuff this season. Within 7 minutes, they were back on level terms. Lovely work from Ian Wright. Jeff Thomas heading the equaliser. In the second half, the floodgates really opened. Palace fullback John Humphrey put his side ahead, sliding the ball into the unguarded net. Sagers off his line. Humphrey, a canny acquisition from struggling Charlton. And now Palace were in the groove. They looked like scoring whenever they attacked. Best move of the game, saw them sweep the ball down across the field. Humphrey for Solarco. The knockdown by Bright for Andy Gray to fire home an emphatic first-time drive. But while the Eagles were flying up front, their defence was showing unusual signs of disrepair. And John Fashanu made them pay. Better known for his more physical endeavours near goal, the Wimbledon striker caught Martin off his line. A delicate chip that from 20 yards. The action, though, non-stop in this South London derby, and Palace came roaring back. A quick cross, Mark Bright volleyed in off the post. 4-2. Surely victory was now secure. But still, Wimbledon refused to accept that their cause was lost. Just 3 minutes left, and McGee completed an excellent afternoon's work, waltzing round Martin to peg back another goal. In the end, though, too little, too late. Palace had been tested, and once again came away with the points. Coming up now, the strangest goal of the weekend, scored after 62 minutes of the game at Plough Lane. Wimbledon on the attack with Terry Gibson. Shot in from McGee, and watch here. What a strange goal. Fullback Mickey Adams, but it goes down cruelly as an own goal against the keeper Tim Flowers. Southampton get back on terms with a penalty, not for that offence, but it's Roger Joseph coming in there, bringing down Alan Shearer. It's the second offence here. That means an equalising opportunity for Southampton, and it's gratefully accepted by Matthew Le Tissier. 1-1, and Wimbledon still just can't win at home. On the field, Gazza's 10th minute corner caught the Dons napping. It gave Paul Stewart the chance to score his first league goal of the season. "15 minutes later, though, it's Gascoigne, the villain. Spurs can't get it away, and watch for a careless back pass there. It lets in Alan Cork, and Eric Thorsved has no chance. Wimbledon are level. That mistake lit up increasingly confident Wimbledon, and watch for a stunning effort from Paul McGee. Again, Thorsved given no chance. Wimbledon with a great record in recent years at White Hart Lane, but Spurs level just before half-time. Identical goal. Gascoigne, Stewart on the near post, and Gary Mabbott, the skipper. 2-2 at half-time. Well, the second half was all one-way traffic. It all went Spurs' way, but it looked as though Wimbledon would hold out for a draw until the last 5 minutes. Paul Walsh, the substitute, so quick on the near post, and that's 3-2. And then Spurs made absolutely certain. Naheem sent tumbling. A definite penalty, and Gary Lineker, who had a superb match, made it 4-2. A cracking, entertaining game.
Wimbledon hadn't won at home all season, but a helping hand from Chelsea in the very first minute put them in front. Paul McGee's free kick comes off Chelsea skipper Peter Nicholas. for the fastest goal of the season. Just 5 minutes later, McGee gives himself a helping hand. Warren Barton with the cross here. It looked good. The referee may have thought it was the hand of God, but the linesman wasn't fooled. A very brave man to do that at Plough Lane. Mr. Reeve, the linesman. Here it is, once again, Barton with the cross, and just for once, McGee looking like Maradona. In the second half, Alan Cork supplied the cross, and Terry Gibson the finish that puts Wimbledon 2 up. Here's Cork fighting as hard as ever, and Gibson makes it 2-0. To their credit, Chelsea never caved in. 10 minutes from the final whistle, Kerry Dixon the knock-on, Gordon Jury pulls one back. Chelsea feel a little hard done by to have this potential equaliser disallowed. Gordon Jury sent through here. A good effort, fine save from Hans Segers. The shot in from Wilson, but Jason Cundy is ruled offside. So the Dons get their first win at Plough Lane this season.
That first home win sees Wimbledon break into the top 10, with the emergence of Paul McGee and Dean Blackwell a great bonus. During the following week, John Gale, who lost his place to McGee, returned to his home city in a £175,000 move to Birmingham. And the following day, John Fashanu agreed to a new contract, tying himself to the club for the end of the 1992 season. Having missed a couple of games, he was back in the side as Everton visited Plough Lane.
Everton had reshuffled their team for the difficult trip to Plough Lane, but right from the start it seemed that manager Howard Kendall hadn't got the mix quite right. After just 20 minutes, John Fashanu, back after a 2-match layoff, found himself free on the left wing. His cross is met by Warren Barton, a free header in front of goal, with Everton defender John Ebrell stranded. It was that man Barton again who set up Wimbledon's second, intercepting a tame pass from the hapless Ebrell to send Paul McGee for a run at goal. His clever through ball splits the back four, and Terry Gibson makes no mistake. McGee is proving one of the revelations of the season with his speed and vision. 2 goals down, and at last Everton found their rhythm. There aren't many set-piece specialists better than Kevin Sheedy, and when this free kick struck an upright, a reckless challenge by Roger Joseph on Ray Atterveld gave Sheedy an easier second go, this time from the penalty spot. He makes no mistake, but the Merseysiders slip to their first defeat under Kendall.
Striker John Fashanu began his career at Norwich, looking very much at home at Carrow Road. One of the best goals of the weekend. Just 26 seconds gone. Well, Warren Barton put Wimbledon 2 up, and he had a hand in the third as well. Wimbledon had a great half an hour here. That's Barton, number 4. And Paul McGee scored some great goals of late. Not this time, though. It's John Scales who cleans up. 3-0 to the Dons, and they aren't finished yet. Gibson for Fashanu in space. And with less than half an hour gone, Big John collects his second and Wimbledon's 4th. And the Dons settle for that. No respite for beleaguered QPR at Plough Lane. Manager Don Howe still without 3 first-choice defenders, and it shows. Gus Caesar on loan from Arsenal with a bad back pass. Terry Gibson is in. Warren Barton's cross, and Paul McGee heads home. McGee proving a real handful for First Division defences. Wimbledon continue to enjoy themselves in the second half. Watch for a really powerful effort from Krasinski there. And John Fashanu first to the rebound. Wimbledon 2 up. Rangers now in total disarray at the back. Free kick from Warren Barton as McGee runs over the ball, and Fashanu heads home. Wimbledon's the top 6, 8 defeats in a row for worried Rangers.
But 4 wins in a row for Wimbledon. They're climbing the table 6th now. 3 other London clubs have positions above Wimbledon in the chase after Liverpool. The following Monday, Ray Harford was officially confirmed as manager, losing the caretaker status he'd had since Bobby Gould's departure. The promising league play wasn't transferred to the Cup, and in the Zenith Data Systems competition, the Dons crashed out to Ipswich for the 2nd successive season. Back in the league, a short trip to Highbury.
Playing unbeaten Arsenal at Highbury is never easy, and the Gunners give the Dons a taste of their own medicine. Paul Merson pouncing on a long clearance, 1-0, half an hour gone. And the Gunners go 2 up 5 minutes later. Paul Davis with a corner. It's met by the skipper, Tony Adams. Adams sent off last week against Luton, now facing suspension. But Wimbledon have added some stylish touches to their resolute approach. Led by John Fashanu, they come battling back. John Scales with a good bit of retrieving. And there's poor marking, and it's Detsy Krasinski who takes full advantage. 2-1 on the stroke of half-time. And it stayed that way until deep into injury time. Keith Curle with a long direct free kick, and somehow it ends in David Seaman's goal. Seaman says he touched it last, Fashanu claims it. 2-2 the result. Wimbledon, with 4 wins and a draw from the last 5 games, are really enjoying a purple patch, and no one more so than John Fashanu. Fashanu gets his name on the score sheet, 21 minutes gone. It stayed that way till the 69th minute, and it's Brian Robson who makes the breakthrough. Robson in the United starting lineup for the first time since the FA Cup final replay. He's brought down by Fashanu. A definite penalty. And it's left to Steve Bruce to squeeze the ball past Seegers in the Wimbledon goal. United have never won at Plough Lane. Mark Hughes looking to change that. 10 minutes to go now. A super turn and a quality finish from the Welsh international. And United make sure of the result when Hughes takes a pass from Robson. He's been upended there by the Wimbledon skipper, Keith Curle. Curle gets the red card for that. Just 2 minutes to go. And Bruce beats Seegers from the spot for the 2nd time in half an hour.
Nottingham Forest may have little left to play for in the First Division this season, but their captain, Stuart Pearce, never seems to recognise a lost cause. He began and ended the move that put Forest 1 up against Wimbledon, bursting through to confront a startled Hans Seegers in the Wimbledon goal. Pearce's persistence doing the rest. Like Stuart Pearce, Wimbledon have built their reputation on an ability to keep going in adversity. And it was a typical John Fashanu effort that brought them back into the match. It was a close game, but it went Forest's way. Franz Carr doing well on the right. His second cross flicking off Steve Chettle for Roy Keane to head home at the far post. That most demanding of managers, Brian Clough, will be a little happier after the defeat at the weekend by bottom of the table Sheffield United.
Gordon Strachan has been the driving force behind Leeds' 13-game unbeaten run, and he was again in prime form. So too was Lee Chapman. He'd already scored 12 times this season, but few can have been as good as this one. John Lukic has obviously been watching a few Wimbledon matches. The long ball from the keeper, a favourite tactic of theirs. You think they might know how to defend against it, but Gary Speed ran virtually unchallenged to collect the ball and score with ease. Strachan was again the provider of Leeds' third, a chipped corner, Chris White's flick on, and Sterling was there to take his personal tally of Christmas goals to 3 in 3 games.
The Warriors are beginning to pile up 2 at Luton, and they dropped even further into the relegation area after this visit to Plough Lane. John Fashanu puts the Dons ahead just before half-time, his 8th goal in 7 games. Fash then went off with a knee injury, and his replacement, the indestructible Alan Cork, scored Wimbledon's 2nd 6 minutes from time. A neat side foot coming up to secure a victory for manager Ray Harford over the club he left just a year ago.
Yes, a sweet victory, much appreciated by Ray Harford after 3 successive defeats. The FA Cup brought an away tie at Villa Park and the Dons took the lead through Paul McGee. Stuart Gray equalising to force a replay, where Alan Cork found the net with a diving header in the last minute of extra time. Before the next round, it was back to the league, starting with Derby's visit to Plough Lane.
Wimbledon had the better of the first half, but couldn't break down Derby until the 61st minute. Fashanu the provider, Gibson the scorer. Having chalked up the first, Wimbledon find the going easier. Just 7 minutes later, Fashanu capitalises on a mistake by Peter Shilton. Fashanu claiming his 11th league goal of the season. Poor Derby are without a win since the beginning of December and were knocked out of the cup by second division Newcastle last week. They do manage to pull one back in the 76th minute. Dean Saunders down but not out. McHarford cleans up. The last word of the afternoon belongs to Fashanu. Typical Wimbledon delivery. Nothing too subtle about England defender Mark Wright's tackle. And in the final minute of the game, Shilton is beaten by Fashanu for the second time of the afternoon. The Dons, once again, mighty difficult to beat at Plough Lane. There can't be many First Division teams that relish playing Wimbledon, but Liverpool have more reason than most to fear the worst. Who can forget the FA Cup final defeat 3 years ago? At Anfield, in front of 35,000 anxious fans, the league leaders managed to overcome early signs of nerves. And employing tactics more akin to the South London side's start of play, they even took the lead. Steve Staunton here picks the ball up in his own half and hoops a spectacular clearance upfield. Enter John Barnes at a rate of knots, an unstoppable shot past Hans Segers. No wonder they're prepared to pay top money in Italy and France for Barnes' services. But Liverpool have shown signs of fallibility after their early season brilliance. Sure enough, 7 minutes from the end, a free kick from Warren Barton sped past the unsighted Bruce Grobbelaar. The Wimbledon jinx continues, the point shared, and Liverpool lose their First Division lead for the first time since the beginning of the season.
Only the second team to take a point at Anfield, and the Dons continue their unbeaten run in 1991. But all interest in cup competition came to an end with a terrible performance in the FA Cup. Third Division Shrewsbury could easily have won by more than the single goal. League placing all to play for now, starting at Plough Lane against Coventry City.
The First Division's lowest crowd of the season, 4,061, must have left Plough Lane wondering why they bothered. Visitors Coventry, without manager Terry Butcher and David Speedy, barely managed a whimper. Terry Gibson put the match out of its misery. Paul McGee has been one of the South London club's revelations this season, but even he seemed affected by the malaise. Coventry goalkeeper Steve Sutton makes a terrible hash as he races to meet the ball. McGee screws the chance wide. 1-0 to Wimbledon, a win they just about deserved.
Mitchell got up well, but here's McGee for Wimbledon, getting there in front of Wise, then giving it away to Clark. Mitchell chasing here and tries to get in behind Blackwell and did well. Dave Mitchell seizing the opportunity of a rare first-team appearance to make an impression early on here and really hustle the defender out of it. Good effort, well saved. Well, that's a good effort by young McGee. Fielded with arrogant ease by Besant. Ray Harford, the former Fulham and Luton Town manager, Joe Kinnear, the ex-Tottenham and Republic of Ireland international, the managerial team at Wimbledon, and they've done a very good job this season. Gibson with a lot of time and a useful ball forward for Fashanu, and still Fashanu, and that was a great challenge by Moncau. Real life-saving tackle as far as Chelsea were concerned by the big Dutchman. It looked as though Fashanu was on his way to goal here. Very good challenge.
Wise. Brought down again, Wise. He's been on the receiving end of most of the dubious tackles. As play goes on, Lasseau tries the shot. That was clever play by Chelsea. The referee whistled. Wimbledon hesitated, waiting for the free kick, and the referee allowed it to be taken quickly, and Lasseau nearly caught them out. Dixon's header. Good play by Curl. Chelsea pushing up, looking for an offside and getting it, as McGee fell into the trap. Attendance here, incidentally, just a little over 13,000 at Stamford Bridge today. 13,378 to be exact. Fashanu in possession for Wimbledon. Wise. Good save. Well, the break seemed to come from nothing really then for Chelsea. But Dennis Wise, who's got 10 goals this season, was quickly onto the ball as it dropped off Phelan, and a good shot, well saved. Krasinski goes off to be replaced by Loris Sanchez, who won an FA Cup winners' medal, scored a goal in fact in the final in 1988, the Irish international on in midfield. And immediately getting a touch. And Cundy goes over the advertising hoarding with a little bit of help from John Fashanu, a handshake to help him back when he can afford to smile about it. The crowd didn't enjoy it quite so much. The clash of two heavyweights. That was a neat bit of hurdling, actually. He can smile, he stayed dry. He can't. Barton. Fashanu. Good save. And suddenly the game is opening up. We've had two good shots, both well saved at either end of the field. Fashanu producing a fine effort and a good save by Besant.
Four more points and the league position improves, but the two-week break through bad weather hadn't helped in that goalless draw with Chelsea. The only signing of the season happened the following week as Andy Clark joined from non-league Barnet for £150,000, with up to the same amount again dependent on performance. But Clark's league debut would have to wait as his teammates faced Tottenham Hotspur. Phelan having to settle for the throw. He thought he'd got a free kick. Moncur for Tottenham. Now Lineker. It was Naeem trying to provide the sort of service that Lineker thrives on. And really the task for Wimbledon here is to try and stop this rather changed Tottenham side settling to the traditional passing game. But here's the strength of Fashanu. He's thrust Sedgley aside. McGee's coming in and scores from right on the line. McGee's goal, but Fashanu played a huge part in it. He can look awkward and ungainly, but into his stride he's extremely quick. And McGee kept pace with him and got his reward. Met well by Blackwell. Phelan taking a chance here. Allen retrieving it for Tottenham. Joseph covering in the centre, and now a stray one from Krasinski. Suicidal play from Wimbledon here, and Sagers has to bail them out from Naeem. And Ray Harford will want to know what was going on here. But it didn't lead to an equaliser, when really it should have done. Torsford having to cope with the blustery conditions with his kicking. Lineker has made space for himself. Allen to the right, Lineker shoots! Well stopped by Sagers. Gary Lineker usually gets his goals from much closer in. And maybe Wimbledon backed off expecting the pass, but it was a great shot. Curl. On from Krasinski, not very far. And here's Fashanu again. And once more he's got the better of Sedgley. Brave goalkeeping, very thrustful forward play, and when it's one-on-one, when Fashanu's in form like this, there's only one winner. Moncur is in trouble and he's pulled Krasinski down. I'm not sure that he needed to in the end because Torsvet might have got to it first in any case. It's going to be a free kick and the crowd calling for the referee to be firm with Moncur. Now it was from this position that Warren Barton scored spectacularly at Anfield to get that prized point. He's there as well, but it's Curl who takes it! With a marvellous free kick, and maybe Tottenham were wondering about Barton as well. But Keith Curl lived up to his name. He bent it in. Fashanu first to it. And that means problems for Tottenham. Gibson supporting on the right. And he in turn supported by Joseph. Stopped by a combination of Edinburgh and Moncur, Sam Ways. Now John Moncur. Sam Ways, who has greater responsibility really in the creative sense when Gascoigne's not playing. Stopped by Joseph. Here's Gray, and it's a good turn by Gudny Bergson, who's conjured a goal here out of very little for Tottenham, and they're back in the picture at 2-1. It's been a tough haul for them, but they had plenty of belief here that a chance might come, particularly Bergson, who took it with great style. Sam Ways. It's a worrying spell in the match for Wimbledon. Sam Ways trying to get away from Krasinski, and then Gibson came in as well. And then finally Scales. At 2-0, Wimbledon were looking very comfortable indeed. But it's not that way at the moment, since Spurs have scored. Phelan's throw. Scales has a great flick by Gibson. Sedgley looked across at the linesman, but there's no flag. Gibson's header is a perfect one. So Wimbledon can relax a little again with the 2-goal cushion restored. And Warren Barton made it all happen down on the far side. The break on the left, the cross, and little Gibson flicked it into the top corner. Sanchez with a header, and then Bergson for Tottenham. Scales. Oh, and Mabbott thought that was going out, and Barton kept his eye on the ball, and here's Fashanu. He deserves a goal, and he's got one at about the 3rd or 4th attempt. And that really was a chapter of disasters for Tottenham. particularly when Mabbutt thought that the ball was going to go out on the far side, and Barton was much more vigilant. He set up the third for Gibson and has provided the fourth here for John Fashanu. Sedgley taking a leaf out of the Wimbledon book. Blackwell. Now Sanchez. Not so many of the cup-winning team left at Plough Lane these days. A cup that was won by the Sanchez goal at Wembley against Liverpool. Coming up for 3 years ago now. It's a foul on Thomas by Scales. Sedgley. Barton. It's not in Wimbledon's nature to be satisfied, even though they're 4-1 up. Great local pride in beating a team like Tottenham by 4 goals to 1, and there might be more to come. Torsford hasn't claimed it. Scales crosses, and Alan Cork is in the right place in front of goal, as he has been in most of his 14 years with the club. And there's another one to the tally. It took a bit of bravery as well. Tottenham's defensive shortcomings exposed again. They look for an offside. Torsford went for it. Didn't make it his. And at the far post, it was Alan Cork. Well, Tottenham might be saying that their priorities this season are in the FA Cup. But really, they've been very disappointing here, and Wimbledon have taken full advantage. They've won by 5 goals to 1. Tottenham's heaviest league defeat for 6 years. But Wimbledon go from scoring 5 to being held scoreless. Norwich, the visitors, in a sterile match. 2 weeks later, the Dons are on the road to visit Manchester City.
Wimbledon's style of play may be controversial, but they've quietly confirmed their status as a genuine First Division side this season. 7 games without defeat going into this one. Paul McGee's cross, John Fashanu stoops on the line to head the Dons in front. The powerful striker appears to indulge in a bit of gamesmanship on his way back to the centre circle. City got back in the game thanks to a slightly harsh penalty award. Laurie Sanchez adjudged to handle the ball from City's long throw. The ball unluckily strikes the defender's hand as he challenges Clive Allen. And to make it worse, McGee gets the yellow card for disputing referee Burge's decision. Mark Ward strikes the penalty a shade too high, but Sager's reactions are far too slow to prevent the equaliser. 1-1, but City's hopes for a place in Europe appear to be fading fast.
Vinnie Jones back on his old stamping ground at Plough Lane, along with Dave Bassett, who dragged Sheffield United out of the relegation zone with 7 wins on the trot. Against Wimbledon, they're going for win number 8, but it's the Dons who take the lead. Mickey Bennett for the veteran Alan Cork. The Dons 1 up midway through the first half. United back into the game in the second half. Typically long throw from Vinnie Jones. And watch for a bizarre handball. That's John Fashanu. What's he doing there? Brian Dean, and that's 1-1. United also claim they should have had another penalty soon after. Similar situation, Jones throw. Fashanu up with a hand again. Did that make contact with his hand? Let's have another look. Well, the referee says no. United denied their 8th win on the trot, but it's still a valuable away point for Dave Bassett's side.
Yes, the end of Sheffield United's winning run, but the Dons' unbeaten league record in the new year stays intact, and that's reflected in the improved league position. As the transfer deadline approaches, the 7th member of the cup-winning squad, Clive Goodyear, leaves on a free transfer to Brentford. The following day, Brian Clough's Nottingham Forest were the visitors to Plough Lane.
Forest are struggling with injuries at the moment. Nigel Clough plays a sweeper at Plough Lane, but they get a great start. Poor back pass from Sanchez, and that's Tony Loughlin, his debut. On the score sheet, just 36 seconds gone. Forest a goal to the good. Wimbledon back on level terms midway through the half. Cross from McGee. Big scramble. Fashionu's 16th of the season. And in the second half, Wimbledon, who are having an excellent season, overwhelm Brian Clough's youngsters. Long Wimbledon through ball. And McGee, the Republic of Ireland under-21 international, makes it 2-1. Forest probably have their minds very much on the FA Cup semi-final. They'll hope to have all their regulars back for that match. But Brian Clough will be incensed about sloppy defending like this that opens the way for Wimbledon's third. It's scored by their recent acquisition from non-league Barnet, the substitute Andy Clark. Ray Harford's side now unbeaten in the last 10 games and in the top 6. At Old Trafford, the United boss Alex Ferguson must have had mixed feelings when Andy Clark put Wimbledon ahead after 28 minutes. Clark almost went to United from non-league Barnet. Looks happy enough in the blue of Wimbledon, though. United come good after the interval. Their equaliser from Steve Bruce. What a season he's been having. That's his 17th. And United get a late winner. It's their best move of the match as well. Irwin for Robbins for Brian McClair. 2-1 United. Wimbledon have never beaten Leeds in the league, and that record is still intact after Leeds' latest visit to Plough Lane. The Yorkshire side cherishing hopes of a place in Europe next season. A brilliant cross from Strachan. Lee Chapman with his 24th goal of the season, and Leeds a step closer to European football. Just 3 points behind third-placed Palace. Everton have been beaten just once in the last 7 league games before playing host to Wimbledon at Goodison. After 12 minutes, there's a spectacular goal from Tony Cottee. Hans Seegers completely flat-footed in the Wimbledon goal. But the Dons get their equaliser just before the half hour. There's good work from Andy Clark, Wimbledon's recent signing from non-league Barnet, and John Fashanu tucks in the equaliser. Quite a transformation in the second half. Wimbledon take control, and Clark gets the winner on 71 minutes. Substitute Newhouse with a long ball upfield, and Clark gets the better of McDonald, and then Southall. It's his third goal in 4 games, and a fine away victory for the Dons.
Tell me about the signing of Andy Clark.
Mainly, everyone were talking about him, and Joe Kinnear lives out that way, and he'd seen him a million times, and Terry Burton had seen him, and Ron Stewart had seen him, and everyone had seen him. Man United had him, and other clubs had looked at him. And I went to watch him, and he excited me. He was just, I found him exciting. I found him very raw, but very exciting. I think, you know, I see him getting shots in where not many people would, and he's got terrific pace, and the money we paid for him I don't think is a gamble. I think it's a very reasonable price for the excitement I got through him, and I think that excitement's been spread to the supporters. I mean, the reserve supporters have seen him score 5 goals in 2 games, first 2 games, and all of a sudden he creates a bit of excitement in the team.
Ray Harford was sacked by his old club Luton for not smiling enough. He may have been after 79 minutes at Kenilworth Road. Keith Curle's free kick into the area. It comes back for John Fashanu, and the striker's 18th of the season is enough to give Wimbledon all 3 points and keep their manager Harford very happy. Villa Park, the visitors Wimbledon make all the early running, but Villa take the lead. Ian Olney on 35 minutes. 3 minutes before half-time, the Dons get the equaliser they deserve. Free kick from Keith Curle, flicked on by Vaughan Ryan, And John Fashanu at the far post finishes it off. That's number 19 in the league for Fashanu this season. The Wimbledon winner comes in the last 10 minutes. And it's scored by the substitute, number 14, Aidan Newhouse. 2-1 to the Dons, and Wimbledon now 7th in the First Division.
Yes, 7th in the table after that 3rd away win in a row, closing in on the Dons' highest ever finish to a season, 6th, 4 years earlier. The following Tuesday, a visit to Roker Park brought 1 point, a tense game with struggling Sunderland. Sunderland holding on after Kevin Bull's sending off just before half-time. 2 games remain. First of all, a local derby against Crystal Palace.
This could be Wimbledon's last league game at Plough Lane. They could be playing at Palace's Selhurst Park next season, and their prospective landlords give them a tough time. Ian Wright early in the second half. And watch for a brilliant second goal from Wright just 6 minutes later. Long clearance from Nigel Martin, and just keep your eye on Wright here. That is a fantastic lob over Hans Segers. Superb goal. Ian Wright then on a hat-trick, and he gets it after 72 minutes. John Solarco in space for John Humphrey, and Wright hooks it back from the acutest of angles. Wimbledon 0, Palace and Ian Wright 3. Down at the Dell, Southampton are in front right before half-time. Some good work by Alan McLaughlin, and Jimmy Case slots it in. Would you believe it? His first league goal of the season on the final Saturday. Early in the second half, the Dons get their equaliser, a cross from Laurie Sanchez, and John Fashanu finishes it off. That's his 20th of the season. The Saints won, the Dons won.
So a final league placing of 7th and only 3 defeats in the final 18 games in the league. The cup form, though, does need some improvement. All in all, a good season for the Dons.
Looking back, what would you say was Wimbledon's best performance and why?
It's got to be really the Norwich game, you know, where we won. To win 4-0 away from home anywhere, particularly in the First Division, is very, very good. And to do it against a team like Norwich, or our football team, and the compliments we got from their players after the game, saying that we played them off the park at football. You know, we didn't beat them across the head and like overpower them. We did it with good football and good play. That probably must be the best 90 minutes. There's been different spells of games where we've really played well. Against Forest we played really well. But over 90 minutes, this has got to be the Norwich game.
Looking back at the season, how would you sum it up?
Started slowly, had a really good middle spell, and that carried us through, you know. But I think with young players, you're always going to have that until you get 2 or 3 seasons under their belt. You won't get that consistency. But people like Fashanu, Segers particularly, have been exemplary in their attitude and their performances and their way of helping the young players. And I've said to players a million times that you're only as good as your senior players. If your senior players are responsible and good examples, and Cork, another one, is in that mould, you've got a chance of being a good team. And they do your job for you, you know, at half times and end of games and before games. They say the right things and do the right things, and they can do half your job. And that's what I think the most important people in the club are your senior players.
High praise for John Fashanu. 20 First Division goals as Wimbledon complete another successful season in Division 1.